Hey guys, Deathletter Magic here, and if I sound more awful than normal, it's because I am indeed getting over another illness. Ooh, back to back to back, love it. Anyway, you and I both knew there was never going to be only one part, especially with the comments section popping off on my last video. And one thing angered me more than anything else that I forgot to put in the video was the number one best example of the devs admitting that it was rigged. But before we jump into it, just so you know, this video as well is sponsored by Into the AM. They make all sorts of clothing, including some dank looking t-shirts, but we'll get into that later in the video. So what's the one thing I forgot? Well, the devs came right out and admitted that matchmaking is completely rigged based on your deck in Brawl. Why they couldn't just come out and admit that it's rigged period in every single format, I don't know. It's like a serial killer admitting to like 7 murders when he knew darn well there was 10. So this statement was deleted by Wizards of the Coast because they don't understand how the internet works. They think that makes it go away. I'm surprised they didn't pull a Parks and Recs and just take the computer and throw it in a dumpster and think that that makes it go away. But in the August 2020 State of the Game article, they said a few small things we want to call out for the August update. First, we'll be making some adjustments to matchmaking, specifically how we weigh certain commanders. And they actually linked to 2 specific ones, which is even funnier. While these 2 are not an exhaustive list, our goal is to nudge players with certain more competitive decks toward each other and give a little more breathing room for those running a bit more laid-back deck list. Please note the fact that they said deck list. You'll find out why I'm a little bit pissed off in a second. We'll be watching how these changes affect the matches, and matchmaking will be tweaking things to make sure all players are getting the kind of matches that suit their deck's style. Now, okay, so Brawl is unranked. So if I don't like someone's commander, I could just forfeit with absolutely no penalty whatsoever. I probably cost myself a grand total of 15 seconds of my life. But the rumor is that so many people were doing that they decided to rig the commander matchmaking in the first place, because that's just what people were doing. And I personally saw a lot of that. Hell, I did a lot of that. So I made a couple Brawl deck lists, and with one I kept getting ranked up against just random whatever creative interesting decks, and with the other one I kept getting paired up against the same 2 stupid decks. One of course being Kenrith, because duh. And I made a video about it. Everybody called me a paranoid, delusional, shuffle, denier, conspiracy, this, that, whatever. And then literal days later, they came out and admitted it was rigged. So all you people who somehow made it from your little echo chamber over on Reddit to my channel, well, go f*** yourself. You're not right. You'll never be right. You're just a wannabe pro, okay? We're not making excuses for losing. We're making excuses for why we're leaving the game, and the game has no customers. Maybe you should listen to us who know what we're talking about. All the sample size human bias, I'm already aware, okay? I'm a software engineer. I know how math works. We said the opening hand land percentage was a bit sus, and they said we were paranoid, and then it turned out to be true. They said that the shuffler was perfectly fine and that we're just making excuses for losing because we're not as good as them. And then somebody tracked 10 million games and found out the shuffler does have a mathematical flaw in it and shifts by about 3.9%. If this is news to you, go watch part 1 of the documentary. I probably should have said that in the first 10 seconds. So here's the problem. And this is just outlining how they think that babysitting you and controlling things in the background is going to help. And it's for your own good, and they know better than you do. And it's just this invisible guiding hand making you experience the game in a better way. I built a white-green deck that was a white-green enchantments. And as a commander, I chose 5-color Kenrith. Because why wouldn't I? Look at his green and white ability. I could not get a fair match. So, WotC programmers, oopsies. I switched it to Calyx or whatever his name is, and yeah, I started getting way more fair matchups. But I want to run Kenrith, that's why they said more competitive deck lists. My deck list is mono white, mono green. So you're not actually pairing up deck lists, you're just doing commanders because that was easier. Well, congratulations, I'm the flaw in that plan. So that was the big one. Now I'm just going to lightning round everything I forgot in the first video or anything that was pointed out to me by commenters. So we're about to put the pedal to the floor, buckle up. Duplicate rares. Full disclosure, they're fixing the system, I think sometime next year is what they said. Yeah, after 6 years they're finally addressing this. Hooray. If I want to go add some copies of Resplendent Angel to my deck, and I filtered it by only the new set, It would say, hey, you haven't unlocked any of these. You haven't opened any packs that had it in it. Here's the problem. I already own 4 Resplendent Angels from the beta. I could just use that artwork. And it does show up if you're just looking for standard, but to me, it's just a scam to get you to buy the card twice. And they've basically made a statement in the past like, yeah, but it's new artwork. You're buying new artwork. You just don't buy it if you want the old artwork. And they got so much backlash for that they literally put it on like the next 2 years announcement schedule. Hey, speaking of burning wildcards, when Historic first came out, they said that they're going to charge people 2 wildcards to unlock anything that is specific to that format, because they wanted it to be like the more expensive, prestigious, kind of like standard versus modern. I guess they were copying that business model without asking themselves, is this a good idea? And is this going to have massive backlash for a game that already costs too damn much? And why are we burning 2 wildcards that you have to basically pay money for on a platform where I can't sell the cards ever? Yep, try and reach into the cookie jar one too many times, the community's going to slap your hand. And yeah, they went back on that in days, but they did attempt to do it. I wouldn't really call that Arena cheating you, but it was just generally unfair, poorly priced, and in poor taste, so I thought I'd throw it in. Next up, let's talk about the disconnect hack. Okay, WotC's official statement on this is that it's just a glitch. It's a server issue, it's a network issue, and they're patching it. And yet, I seem to get disconnected at really opportune times in really competitive formats where I have really good win rates. Then it happened to somebody in a formal tournament while they were streaming live on Twitch, and they were going for huge prize money. So I don't have any direct evidence, nor have I ever seen evidence of a disconnection hack. As far as I know, it is 100% centrally hosted, and you can't see your opponent's IP address. You can't send packets to them. The most I've ever seen is the hover spamming and the pet color changing exploits, which have since been patched. However, in theory, somebody could confuse the server about sessions and who did what and who disconnected and who's matched with who and that sort of stuff, where it would kind of relay some bad logic to the other person, especially right at the opening of a match. Now, if you've watched a couple of my live streams, you might be saying, hey, everything you just said is absolute BS and you absolutely do have direct knowledge of something more than what you're letting on. To which I would say, read the YouTube terms of service. Yeah, I don't know anything about, what people were doing or a defense mechanism that got around it, or packet analysis or switching IPs rapidly, I don't know nothing about that. I don't know anything about some coarse language for 30 seconds while I blanked out the stream and then reconnected to a match after I got oddly disconnected. That's definitely not happened a dozen times live on stream with like hundreds of witnesses. Anyway, good luck winning a cash prize tournament, because I don't think the game's as secure and stable as they think it is at this point. I mean, speaking of that, forget any kind of disconnection hack. I did the math. In the average game, standard constructed with an average number of turns, I could time somebody out by going 42 seconds out of 45, so safe 3-second margin on the timer. I could time somebody out for approximately 34 minutes. There's no penalty. There's no reduction. There's no, hey, you used most of your timer last time. There's no AI. There's no logging. Nothing. You could get reported and you'll get a warning or a suspension. You do it against a Twitch streamer, oh, you're in trouble if somebody from WotC was watching it. Other than that, yeah, they have done nothing since day one about timer spamming. So it's like the exploit where I absolutely have to win. I'm 6-2 or something in a draft, or I'm going for like that $2,000 prize tournament thing that they got going on, and it's in like the final match, and now somebody's hoping that I have to leave in the next 30 to 60 minutes, or that like my wife or my kids or something interrupt me, or I don't know, a storm knocks out my internet. They're just trying to like do something to stall you out to the point where you can't stay in the match anymore. And with a heavy control like delay deck, you could probably tie somebody up for about 1 to 2 hours without ever exceeding the number of timers. You just use 90% of the timer every time. They have done nothing but warn people not to do that. Not that hard to write some code that says, hey, you appear to be doing this, don't, or you'll be banned. Just like a basic confidence level code. It'd be terribly simple to implement that. It got so bad that WotC actually had to make a public statement after the first like cash money tournament. So yeah, good job there. If you think, hindsight is 20/20, let me just tell you, in any software design, You design the basic framework, and then 90% of your time after that should be, what is the worst of the worst 1% of people going to do to exploit this? What is a really petty, angry 12-year-old who can't take losing, what are they going to do to cheat? What is some Russian hacker going to do to sell hacks to cheat at this? What kind of bot, what kind of aim bot, what kind of, whatever, what kind of exploit, what kind of data are they going to send to the server? What are they going to do to manipulate the client, manipulate the memory in real time using a VM? You got to ask yourself these questions because it's 2023, not 1999, okay? People are going to hit it with everything they've got, especially when money's on the line. Speaking of that, one thing that people threw out there, I totally forgot to mention this, with all the 10 trillion different problems there are with drafting, quick draft and person drafting, totally forgot people are multi-boxing. They're running VMs. They got 3 monitors. They could literally be all 8 players themselves. You don't even need friends. You don't need to jump on a Discord call at like 4 a.m. to queue up with your friends like everybody's been doing on a MTGO for 10 years. I would terminate the draft queue if more than 2 people were on the same IP address. And then send both of those clients a warning that says, hey, you appear to be on the same IP. I mean, if you're on a VPN, drop it. Otherwise, still weird coincidence, just saying. You appear to be at the same location, and we don't allow that because you could cheat. You could share information. So, just FYI, don't do that. We're never going to let you get away with that. And then people could just multi-account. I mean, I get 5 to 10 clients with my VPN service I use. So it wouldn't really work, but it would be a little warning, a little goose, just to let people know that you know that they know that you know that they know. Just a fun little something you can do. Something else fun that you can do is go check out Into the AM with my code DESTHREADS for 10% off even clearance items on Into the AM. They always got crazy sales going on. I may or may not know about some cool stuff coming up, Christmas to New Year's, so you might want to go take a look. And they've got some killer new products coming out. I'm not allowed to talk about some of them, but just go check out the site yourself. It is amazing. I got some of the cool products up on screen right now. I have always been satisfied with the quality, the durability, the comfort of their shirts, and the prices. I honestly don't know how they're making money because those are some quality shirts. The joggers are top notch. I mean, I'm telling you, if you didn't get any kind of cool looking garb for Christmas, spice up the new year, make it your resolution to actually not look like crap and, look like somebody dressed in this century. Plus, purchases there support the channel, and my God, did you guys attack it like crazy last time. I'm surprised they have anything left. But the numbers I'm seeing, their brand is exploding lately, so makes sense because they're just that good. So if you got a little Christmas money that you got or a little Christmas shopping money left over, or just really prioritizing how you look, which you should, go check it out with the link down below. And like I said, code DESTHREADS for 10% off. So how else is Arena cheating you? Well, this one's, I guess we don't have proof, but you could literally try this yourself. I'm going to stop just short of calling it proof. If you add a new card to your deck using wildcards, so you redeemed wildcards, not just anything out of your library, redeemed wildcards to put 1, 2, 3 copies of a card, maybe 4, in your deck, it will be in your opening hand the next game. In the next couple games, it'll be in your opening hand. You could run one of, it'll probably still be in your opening hand. Overwhelmingly more than it should. To the best of my abilities, within the reason that I could do this, I tracked it, and it was I think 14 times more prevalent than it should be. Yeah, they want you to get to play with that shiny new thing that you just dropped, hard-earned wildcards on. So it's a well-known / well-suspected, not proven, secret that they'll give that card to you. You could see how this would be a problem for high-ranked tournaments. Let me also throw this out there. I forgot to mention it, I think, in the last video. According to multiple statements from WotC, made over time, so I'm not going to go back and find them and read them. It's just take my word for it. Speaking of that, okay, I'll address that later. But all assistance, background rigging, everything is turned off for high-profile ranked tournaments with prizes. Also, it's turned off for the Mythic League. Once you get to Mythic, opening hand assistance is turned off. I think it's when you're in the number ranks and not just Mythic at all. Don't quote me on that. And they may or may not have kept that experiment going, but they have admitted that word for word. This is not suspected. They said it. So it was, I think, in the same article where they got found out to be rigging the opening hands. They said, yeah, we have a hand smoothing algorithm. Here's how it works. We had it the whole time. And everybody's like, you just admitted that we suspected you're cheating the opening hand. I mean, in our benefit, but still, just at all. And you're just going to come out and tell it to our face, like, yeah, you're being manipulated and cheated in the background with the code on purpose, but it's a feature, so everybody calm down. You should have seen the active user graph drop after that. So the hand smoothing algorithm is turned off in the Mythic League and in, I think they said sealed and draft, but clearly best of one draft color fixing is assisted, clear as day. Come on. Once again, not proven, but I've seen enough, 100 matches where people playing 3 color get their 3rd color on turn 3 to know that it should not happen. Land is 1/3 of your deck, and correct lands are 1/3 of that. You do the math. How often, and I mean literally, go pull up a hypergeometric calculator. There's a website for it. You just combine the probabilities. How often should somebody get all 3 colors by turn 3 with no mulligans, with 0 dual lands and 0 filters, 0 fixing? And the answer is basically never, and I see it about 90% of the time in draft. They want bad game that was out of my control to be not a thing that happens in best of one. They've been very open about that. They haven't admitted this yet, though, but we all know it's happening. So their claim years ago that they turn off all assistance for official tournaments, prize tournaments, and high-ranked like mythic stuff where you're like qualifying for a pro tour. They turn off hand assistance, they turn off smoothing, all that stuff. They appear to have gone back on that, at least for drafts, in my opinion. Here's another way the game cheats you. I think everybody kind of realized this because I complain about it all the time. It's actually like a bit of a joke at this point where, okay, so I'm in Diamond League, and then it goes to the end of the month, and now I derank, 6 ranks or whatever. So now I'm like mid-gold. I'm gold 2. Cool, so I log in on, October 1st, and, oh, cool, now instead of, really, really tough Diamond League people, I get to play against much easier Gold League people. Everybody D-ranks at once. Those people are literally just Diamond League with a coat of paint, a little fake sticker over their rank that says, no, trust me, bro. They're in Gold League. You're in the Gold League. It's way easier. 100% of those people are just Diamond League people. What they need to do is take a random number generator, make it 1 through 28, and then have everybody D-rank on a random number. Then when your rank gets reset, you'll actually be playing against opponents who are actually easier. That's kind of the point. Otherwise, the rank is really just a lie because that's not who you're playing against. And there have been much longer articles by people who went way more into depth on this where you could just wait until like the last week of the month and just power level. You can just take a trash deck and just fly through the leagues in like one day. In fact, people have taken brand new accounts and actually used certain new person suspected exploits and gotten to Mythic in one day or 1 week or whatever. In fact, I think YouTubers have done it. So if you go look hard enough, you'll find it. I don't want to ruin their thunder, but let's just say, in my opinion, they proved it by, doing it. But that was one of the exploits that I know for a fact they used. I think like Goldfish or like, I don't know, Card Kingdom or, one of those giants like that, they wrote an article about something like that. Maybe it was Channel Fireball. Something about you can just wait a week or two and then play easier opponents and you'll rank up quicker and easier. And WotC's yet to do anything about it. Like I said, I solved it in my head in 1 second. Just randomize when everybody deranks, and then you have a 3% chance that anybody you're playing against is actually just a deranked person who's a better player than their rank suggests. And then, now think about how unfair this is. You stay away from the game for 3 months because you're playing, Elden Ring or something. You come back because a new set comes out, and you're all the way in bronze. But you're a super expert level player who usually gets diamond. Well, how is that fair to anybody? Here's another one. I just have to throw it in. They claimed at one point that I think it was mid-30s to low 40s% of their players, active players of Magic the Gathering, on all platforms combined, were female. That is bullshit. They have completely and utterly made up that number. It came from nowhere. I am convinced, in my opinion, that is not true. They've tried to explain it, and they said it's casuals. I don't know any casual kitchen table Magic players that are female. Maybe they just asked people on a survey. If you've played Magic in the last 5 years, like one time, and then ask them what their gender is, but still, that would maybe bring it up to 5%. My channel is over 98% male viewers, and there's no logical reason for that. I have heard that female YouTubers who covered Magic the Gathering in the past had overwhelmingly male viewers. We can see those statistics on YouTube stats, YouTube analytics. So where they're getting this complete and utter fantasy that like 30-40% of their customer base for Magic the Gathering is female, it's about 2%. You're out of your damn minds, you liars. But this is your typical, I want it to be true, so I'm going to just lie about it, Jussie Smollett level crap that you always see from the left. Because they realize that everything they're saying is bullshit. Everything they believe and think is bullshit. It's illogical nonsense about just be mad at this group because I said so. And they switch their brain off and go, yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, white people and men bad. Okay, I don't know, families bad. Women who want to have kids instead of a career, bad. I don't have to think it through. Somebody just said it was true, and the others say otherwise, so I'm just going to adopt this as my belief. So if you think that it's, a new thing for them to lie about something like that so that they don't look like that, look up their history of hiring black people as contracted artists even, let alone directly. I'll give you a little hint. It doesn't exist. Say one thing, do another. Welcome to the left. It's all this forced diversity. Look at us, we're so great. It's all hypocritical bullshit. Everybody knows that. Oh, and if you're offended by my politics, also known as just reality, you are on the wrong channel, bro. So the last thing that I'm going to cover, unless I missed something in my notes, forfeit bots. You could just use a Ghost Mouse program to just forfeit. And this was a really big problem for a couple days, and I think actually WotC did something about it. But now that they're not in control of the development and they shipped it out to a Canadian company because all their devs quit and they have such a bad reputation that nobody wants to work for them, especially for not enough damn money, they just said, fine, screw it. We'll ship it out to this Canadian company that made Age of Mythology. They got a pretty good track record. We've had more broken cards, incorrectly implemented mechanics than ever before because, well, I think I mentioned this in the other video, but they obviously, in my opinion, and in my experience as a software engineer, they're paying them X amount of dollars per year. So the less hours they can put into the project, the better. So they're going to have, a little bit of a rush, because if you go over X whatever, you're cutting into our margin kind of thing going on. There might be some plus or minus for extra features and stuff, but I think they're just paying them like $3 to $5 million or something in that neighborhood. I don't think they're working for a flat commission because then they'd say, what are your sales numbers and active player counts for the last 5 years? And if they handed over those stats, that would be a no. So anyway, the code is a lot less policed and a lot more minimal than it used to be, in theory. So what I'm hearing is forfeit bots are back. In fact, it used to work against Sparky. You could play casual matches against Sparky and just forfeit 100 times in a row. Obviously, you're not going to sit there as a human and do it. But it was a well-known fact that humans were doing it without even like a automated mouse clicking program. Also known as a macroer, also known as Ghost Mouse, also known as a RuneScape cheat. But yeah, people would do it manually, just, toss 15 straight losses into the stat tracking that totally doesn't exist. Wink, wink. And then get way easier opponents when it mattered. So people would rank up, and then while they're in 4, just throw a bunch of matches, and then they get easier opponents. But it used to work against Sparky. I'm not sure if it still does. That would be a lot less trackable than person versus person. But I have seen still in the high ranks, like right when I got up to Diamond last time, all of a sudden in rank 4, like 1 in 4 of my opponents were forfeiting before they even saw their own cards. It was weird. It benefited me pretty heavily, threw off my stats and tracking. But yeah, people are still doing it. Always were, always have been, still are. Luckily, according to WotC, those people are all just insane, and there's nothing in the background that tracks your deck win-loss and then gives you easier opponents if you lose too much. But is there a true bot that can actually play it? Like, we know everybody's suspecting that WotC's throwing in bots. I'm on the fence about that. I don't know. There was that one leak, alleged leak, about the 200-plus card decks that disappeared shortly after somebody blew the lid off that. And we've all seen it. We have all seen it. When that came out and I made a video on it, everybody was like, that happened to me. But is there a bot that you can run that would just play your deck for you? There's no API. There's no nothing. You'd have to basically, like I said, like Ghost Mouse it. But the answer is yes. Somebody reminded me of that. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say how to do it, where to get it, how successful it was, nothing. Well, I guess I'll say not very. But somebody just took a potato simple deck like All Rat Rush or Mono Red Rush, And they wrote the most basic Python script I have ever seen to just click on a card, attempt to play it, move left. Click on a card, attempt to play it, move left. And I believe they had stated that they were achieving a win rate in the 40s. Or maybe, I think it was 20 to 30, but they said, well, but think about it. I don't care what my record is, and I just want to get the dailies, get the daily wins. So if I wrote this little Python script to move a mouse and click a key, and just spam cards until it kind of works, and then spam attack all, a red rush or a rat stack, Don't do this. That's a terms of use violation. Do not do that. You'll get banned, allegedly, according to WotC. But yes, at least one person did it. And, there's one last thing I got to mention. Duh. But yeah, the conclusion is, yes, there is kind of a bot. But I mean, if you're looking at like the level of bot on like Xmage or like the level of bot of Sparky, no, nobody's got that level of AI, as far as I'm aware. That said, the game's been out for many, many years after the guy demonstrated that you could just monkey intelligence your way to it. And card art and text recognition engines already exist. Oh, and the card logic to play cards correctly as like a hard level AI already exists and is somewhat open source. But I'm sure nobody combined them to run up accounts and then sell them to people. And, nobody would do that. There's only just a giant financial incentive to do that. So the last thing, in the last video, I had mentioned that I have, in theory, somebody could write a perfect drafter overlay system because I've seen them in video poker like crazy, or video poker, online poker, technically both, but online competitive poker, people are running like perfect, here's what you do, analysis things. And I said, well, in theory, you could write one for Magic the Gathering, but I'm not aware of any that exist. I've never seen one. It's just theoretically somebody could do it. I would like to revise that statement after some people linked some websites to me. What is the revision of my statement? And what are those websites? Well, YouTube terms of service say that I can't tell you. I just would like to let you know that I'm revising that statement. Once again, disclaimer, don't be that guy. Don't be an asshole. Don't cheat. I have probably less respect for MTG Arena than anybody watching this. And after the level of damage that they've done to the game, and then obviously consequently my channel and my source of income and my card selling business and about everything else, plus their psychotic politics, their hypocrisy, their lies. I mean, the time they hired a pedophile knowingly, then covered up all the pedo judges, and oh God, I hate them so much. I still would not sink so low as to cheat at the game. I hate cheaters. So if you think I'm a little bit too negative towards them, then it's because you don't know what the last 10 years have been like on this channel. 3,600 videos in over 10 years. Watching what they've done to the game and the power creep lately and what that absolute moron CEO did to it. Yeah, I got nothing nice to say about them. When they do something good, I still cover it positively because I'm, going to stay as neutral as possible. But yeah, I'll admit I got a little chip on my shoulder. But so does anybody else who knows what reality is, okay? The people who can't handle hearing negativity or negative stories or like the truth, like actual bad things that WotC is doing, has done, and will continue to do. Do you just enjoy living in a world where you don't know what's going on? I get it. If you're a casual player and you want to casually play Magic the Gathering, you come across my channel and you're like, oh, this isn't for me. I don't want to hear this. I just play casually. I don't play any events. I don't even buy the new products. That I get. But there's channels much larger than mine that just did it to survive. They were talking about, card quality, paper quality, curling. And WotC gave them you better watch that. And they're like, okay, fine, Papa WotC. Keep giving me free, mentions and free spoilers and free traffic to my channel, free links to my socials. I'll be good. I won't say anything bad about you. And then they turned into MSNBC. It's just an absolute joke. I started by telling the truth about the game, whether it was positive or negative. I got a WotC's blacklist faster than just about anybody else. And I haven't looked back since. My channel exploded by telling the truth, and I'm going to keep telling the truth now. Right up until they run the game straight into the ground. So take all the money you would have spent on Magic the Gathering and check out the sponsor, Into the AM. At least get you something that you can enjoy and a real physical object that I guess in theory you could resell. Unlike Magic the Gathering cards on Arena. I was going to say the traditional pixels on a screen, but guys, I'm a software engineer. You're not buying pixels on a screen, you're buying entries in a database. You're buying zeros and ones in a database on a server, in a cloud. It's not pixels. Pixels are just the output. Oh my God. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.